Thanks a lot for joining here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Great to see you all here, and welcome to our the next episode of this particular fishbowl. And the discussion today is on unlocking enterprise value through intelligent automation. And I believe this is quite relevant today as a business everywhere grappling with rising cost, talent shortages, and need to quickly adapt to a rapidly changing market. This, we believe, the intelligent automation and how it's unlocking value across the organization, the enterprise, and in helping them improve the value across the value chain is quite important. And here, we all have heard about intelligent automation. It combines AI, machine learning, and the workflow orchestration. But the way I see it is it's more than just a bots automating routine tasks. Today, it's all about helping business make smarter decisions, enhance customer experiences, and remain competitive in ways we couldn't have imagined a few odd years back, right? So I was just looking into some of the data points, and the recent research that highlights that companies effectively leveraging intelligent automation, they can increase the productivity up to almost 40%, and they do significantly reduce the operational cost, and even they boost the customer satisfaction. They were able to improve the customer experience by almost 30 to 40%, right? And doing all this, there's still a catch. So this reaching these results aren't always straightforward. So enterprises must tackle various challenges, whether it's the data foundation, the quality of it, the infrastructure readiness, the governance, security, the process, the adaptation of these things across various levels. So we see this across the organization during the implementation of the adoption, right? And today, to unpack this particular aspect, to understand the complete flow of adoption of intelligent automation, I have here outstanding leaders from the industry. And I would like to introduce, I'll start with, I have Aayilyan Rajagopalan, I call it as AR, Director of NatWest Group. He's leading technology-driven transformation and digital modernization within the banking sector. Welcome, AR. Second, I have Arun Narayanaswamy, Senior Director and Engineering, Senior Director of Engineering and Site Head at Amadeus Labs. He's leading digital and cloud transformation in the travel industry. Welcome, Arun. Third, I have Rahul Das, General Manager and India Head at ABC Fitness. He's driving innovation in AI-powered fitness tech, and he's also leading the India Innovation Hub. Welcome, Arun. Welcome, Rahul. Great. And I do have Gourav Datta. He's Vice President of Intelligent Automation and AI at Ciklum. Ciklum is one of the leading customer experience-driven engineering services provider. And there, Gourav is focused on driving operational efficiency and digital transformation through advanced automation and technologies. Welcome, Gourav. Thank you. It's great to have you all here. And I would like to start the discussion. Gourav, I'll start with you. To set the context, I want you to help us understand or clarify what intelligent automation truly encompasses for enterprises. And also, I want to know why it's increasingly becoming a strategic priority across enterprises.
Thank you. Thanks, Vijay. Thanks for having me on this panel. Before just jumping into, and I'm not going to go into the definition of what intelligent automation, I know we've heard about this enough times and everyone knows about it. But one thing that I always advocate, and as Ciklum as well, we always advocate, is it's not about intelligent automation. It is about how and what organizations actually do with intelligent automation. Now, the way I've seen this evolve, and I've been in this automation space for more than 10 or 11 years now, the way it has started evolving, and I see that there's been a massive shift from organizations using automation to automate tasks and processes to now more matured organizations. The way they use automation and AI is more to solve some of their bigger strategic problems. Automation is not in itself. It is a piece of the puzzle. It is a piece of a much bigger puzzle. And that's what we've seen automation evolve into. And this is what organizations are truly benefiting, how they're truly benefiting from intelligent automation. So plugging automation into a wider transformation initiative. Every organization that we've kind of worked with so far, and even now, they're all being massively disrupted. Like we've heard supply chain disruptions, and we've been fortunate or unfortunate to work with clients who've been massively disrupted when Brexit happened, with semiconductor crisis that has happened, recent organizations impacted with Trump tariffs. So the volatility is becoming the norm of a lot of these organizations. The winners in this race, what we're seeing is the organizations that are using intelligent automation and AI to help solve some of these problems. When disruption is becoming a norm, how can IA, intelligent automation, bring that whole visibility, the control around your processes? And just very quickly, two things that I've seen this helps is, one, organizations that leverage this shift, they are the ones that reap the bigger benefits. It's not about here's an FT reduction, here's a task that runs faster, but this is about how your bigger macro problems are getting solved with automation and AI. And for the clients, for our immediate stakeholders that we work with, the COE leaders, as the leaders on this call as well, when you have automation plugging into a bigger transformation program, that's when the programs become bigger. That's when the program becomes a lot more enriching for yourselves and your team that are working on it. These become a lot more meaningful for organizations. That's what I would say.
Okay, good to know, Gaurav. So with this, I'll move to AR. So we heard about the adoption and how the intelligent automation is piece of a puzzle and how important it is in this disrupted era. Want to understand specific to the banking vertical where you come from, and this is a vertical which is or it's a sector which is highly regulated. What core strategic drivers typically compel enterprises or banks to prioritize the technology like intelligent automation or a process like intelligent automation?
Thank you for the wonderful question, Vijay. To start with, I think whatever views I mentioned is my perspective as an industry practitioner, not necessarily that of NatWest. In terms of why it is a strategic driver for a banking industry, I think pretty much large banks, if you look at it, significant part of them, especially in the US and UK, are legacy. They have gone through the cycle wherein everything is done manually in ledgers. Over a period of time, digitization came into play. Then the next cycle of moving things, everything digital as much as possible so that there is minimal human touch. And then now we are in a place wherein you have a whole host of intelligent automation tools that's available. There are possibly 3 or 4 things that I would possibly place as my views. One is it's not about technology per se. It's a significant strategic imperative. Quite often, banks the drivers are multiple things. One is plain operational efficiency and compliance. There is an increasing scrutiny in banking. There are newer regulations coming into play every couple of years. And added to that, there is a significant need for operational efficiency. At the end of it, for a retail bank, you can only have the margin difference as a key thing. All other fees are available, but the upside is a bit limited for a retail bank. So to that extent, you need to continuously focus on operational efficiency. So there is a relentless pressure. Added to that being legacy, there's a significant number of manual processes which are possibly involving sensitive customer data, sensitive payments data, which are prone to errors and delays. There could be simple customer payments, few $100. There could be significant settlement payments which involve millions of dollars. So, and both of them could be manual. The impact of higher value payments is quite significant. So to that extent, we do need operational efficiency. We do want to make sure the errors are reduced. We do want to comply with regulation. Added to that, it is a commercial business. So customer is the king. Customers in this era want instant decisions, be it something like a loan approval, be it something like a fraud alert or I want to get onboarded into the bank. Everything I want to happen immediately, instantly. Even in India, the instant decisioning is required, and not often you can have significant investments that would allow you to move the strategic system. So there is an imperative to bring in all the intelligent automations, which are helpful to smoothen the process to make sure the manual touch points are minimal. And we do want scalability as the third thing. How can we have more scalability? How can we have more resilience as well? Quite often there are disruptions in the industry. How can I scale up my processes quickly? Classic example could be there is a run on the bank. There could be a bad press kind of event, which suddenly results in huge volumes, stuff like that. So all these things happen in the industry today. So how can I scale up quickly? Adding human workers quite often is not the answer. So can we add digital assistants to do that? So those are bit of uh, points. The last thing could be more of colleague experience as well, because they are pretty much an important stakeholder. How are you enabling them so that they don't possibly bring data from 10 different sources, and the 40% of the time is just spent in bringing the data, not in making decisioning. How can you enable them so that everything comes in a single view, and they are more seen as SMEs rather than data gatherers? So that's a
Okay.
significant colleague imperative that we have. So those are broad drivers that we have in a regulatory industry like bank.
Good to know. Good to know. Good to know, AR. Arun, I'll shift to you. So you come from customer-centric retail travel industry. It cuts across, and want to understand from your perspective, what are the key criterias for organizations like yourself or in that area that guide identifying the right scenarios where the technology like intelligent automation can genuinely create substantial business value. So how do you do it?
Again, when we look at automation, the my personal view, automation is a how, right? End of the day is the customer would like to have any value or a business value that he or she can realize, right? So the core foundation remains where it's focusing on traveler experience, who our customer is, and on our end, it would be driving efficiency. So the lever for it largely is automation. So I would put it as three sort of pillars on the basis of which we probably look at where automation can fit in, right? So one clearly is an area of work which is repetitive. It could be repetitive at the customer end, repetitive at a developer end, or anyone in the process, right? It could be process, it could be development, it could be action that the customer is taking, or a response that he or she is giving it to an agent, right? So repetitive tasks are clearly first priority item, which we look at automation. And in the new age, obviously, it's making that process a little more intelligent in the sense, right? Taking a very clear example would be deep down personalization and website generation, right? So let's say if I would open a website for an airline and I want that website to be customized in a way where it's designed based on a destination, designed based on the customer preference, etc. That's fully automated, where some of our websites are auto-generated, catering to those personalization, right? So that's deep automation in terms of repetitive work, because then you can't keep creating new websites per destination, per user. So that's one. Second pillar I would look at in terms of a scenario is where we have data, and that data could be used to generate new insights, right? So these are generally areas where we are looking at. In a traveler industry, it would be pricing, which could be dynamic. It could be based on demand, disruption, right? So, for example, I'm traveling from destination A to a destination B, and the intelligent automation is able to predict or able to identify that there is a disruption coming, right? It could be an airline getting grounded, airline crashing. Unfortunately, we did see some scenario disruption because of weather or any geopolitical reasons, right? The pricing could change, the airlines could get automatically reassigned, and linking it to different sources, right? So take a simple example where in the current scenario, an airline gets disrupted. So an airline would reach out to you and say, okay, this plane is now not reaching here on time. So can I give you an alternate plane? But is it linked to the traveler experience? Can the taxi get automatically changed? Can the hotel get automatically changed? Can the communication to the hotel be sent saying this person is coming late? So can you get his room or her room ready in time? Or upsell in some way saying, okay, the person is checking in late. So can you get the dinner into the room, right? Things like those. So that's data enhancing automation. That's second. And largely the third, which is used across segments now, is collaborating on AI automation and the user, right? So basically enhancing a customer touch point with the use of data. So which is typically seen across the industry. You've seen AI powered chatbots where, let's say, a customer is asking you something and the agent could have more information about the customer, which the person would have earlier have to go look at multiple data sources, but the data is immediately available, and far more personalization, right? And combination of all three could be used in automation, which takes the traveler experience to a completely new level. So that's probably my three pillars in which I'm looking at automation.
Perfect, Arun. I think it's good that you touched upon all the three aspects of it. Coming back to Rahul, so I would say the fitness technology is one of the, I would say, booming or a dynamic industry, and want to understand from your perspective, how do firms strategically evaluate opportunities where whether it's intelligent automation or AI can significantly enhance not only the operation but also looking at user experience, because that's quite important for you, and the business outcomes, right? How do you go about it?
Yeah, thanks, Vijay. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's a very exciting topic about intelligent automation. People talk about automation, but intelligent means quite a bit here. To your point, when we talk about automation, we look at what comes from our mind is efficiency, right? When people drive efficiency. But when you talk about intelligent automation, it's very paramount to drive user experiences, very paramount to drive actually the business outcomes or key drivers behind it. And as you rightly said, fitness industry is pretty growing very fast. And so it's also driving enterprise value in the fitness industry. When I talk about enterprise value, what is enterprise value for a fitness industry? It's about memberships. It's about onboarding clubs or members. It's also about giving very unique experiences for workouts, for trainers, for members, right? So it's very important to identify those experiences. What is the goal here is everyone has an aspiration to be fit. And how do you make it real and how do you touch it, right? That's so critical and us being in the fitness industry, to get that real, empower everyone to say, yes, that's possible. And all those experiences, the technologically drivers behind it make that possible. All right. So that's very key on us. So first and foremost, how do you drive it? Ensure that we are driving strategically is aligning to those experiences I talked about from a fitness industry. That's what we are working on, is aligning to the business goals and also aligning to the customer experiences. Other important aspect there is how do you go about evaluating, right? Prioritizing which to go after. And it's very important that we think about time to market because our industry is evolving very fast. AI is also here, and that is also disrupting the way, how you interact with the technology and how the end user interacts with the technology. So that is one of the criteria: time to market, complexity to adopt. Those experiences also very key, and driving an impact. How do you define an impact versus complexity to drive that impact as you need try to prioritize those? So that's also very key in terms of how do you do that. And as a fitness industry, we are also paying very close attention to AI. The reason that is because that can help you drive recommendations in workouts. That can help you drive personalization in the workouts. Also,
Okay.
the industry is so evolving because newer and newer ways every human being wants to interact and realize workout. When I say that, it's not just you can just go to the gym and do a workout, right? That is not the only thing today. People want to go to the resorts, have a very unique experience. Does it have a 360 view? Also, it means people also want to have time for recovery. So, how much time for recovery? Can you drive those experiences, AI-driven experiences for recovery? Wearable also is getting tightly integrated into the fitness industry platform. So realizing those and ensuring that we are able to light those up, those experiences, would be how I would see how an enterprise should strategically place intelligent automation leveraging AI.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thanks a lot, Rahul. Thank you. I think that that sums up. So I think that sums up a good leeway into my the next segment of questions. So Gaurav, I'll come back to you. So we across the board we heard the things about the legacy, about the kind of tools, the instant decision, what they need to do, the requirement for the scalability we spoke about, right? The customer experience that which kept changing. So I want to understand from you, because you have been working across industry segments, you have been seeing customers across industry segments. Want to understand, when you look at this business problem and you try to evaluate what technology fits into it, what are the basic, or the base fundamental challenges or the need when you start looking into resolving this particular issue, or looking towards resolving this with any of these technologies?
Thanks, Vijay. That super interesting question. And again, I always think how my thinking has also evolved over the last few years. When we start scaling automation programs, one thing that I've seen it does, and it's no offense to anyone on this call, that I think automation and AI program often exposes a very uncomfortable truth about organizations. And the biggest uncomfortable truth that I've seen, that organizations and the way they're designed, they're architected not to be intelligent. They are architected to be compliant. Organizations and processes are all architected to be consistent. This is how it needs to run. They are designed to be compartmentalized, right? When you start scaling programs like Aayilyan automation, the biggest challenge we see is this whole setup, this whole legacy setup of organizations, because you're meant to be compliant. You're not meant to be innovative. You're not meant to be fluid. Organizations are not meant to be working with real-time cognition. You've created departments within organization. And when you absolutely try and scale automation, you need to go cross department orchestration of processes. How can you touch more end-to-end workflows? And again, this exposes this truth that organizations are very differently wired. Three kind of key challenges, I would say, that we see. First one is around data. When I initially started in 10, 11 years back with automation, everyone said the same thing. It's about processes. Why do we care about data? Or the challenge was, our data is a big problem. We don't have enough data. And then over the years, we figured out data is super critical. And data is in abundance. Data is there. The problem is that the data is hidden within silos, is hidden within legacy systems, is hidden within, again, these human empires that people have built within organizations. So as you start adopting and scaling intelligent automation and AI programs, I think data becomes a fundamental thing. How do you use data as your first product? Data is not your byproduct of legacy operations and systems. How do you start utilizing data in a much more effective way, building the right fabric? How do you have more real-time data, metadata, and data with context? You can have n number of data points, but do you have the right data points with the context? So I think that's challenge number one that I've seen. Challenge number two is governance. And again, governance, I feel, is so critical. It's because governance is like the foundation of a building. Everyone sees a skyscraper and they get wowed by how tall the skyscraper is. And no one cares about how much time it took to lay out the foundation, because it's underneath the ground. No one actually talks about it. No one actually thinks about it. But this is the same with automation. Everyone is on this journey to build POCs and run more, and forget about the fundamentals, forget about How do you set up governance? What is your operating model? How do you evaluate processes? How do you evaluate technology? How do you ensure citizen development is a big thing, but how do you ensure people are not building bots that are not useful in the organization? Like, how do you ensure the chaos isn't there? So governance becomes a very, very big thing. Governance is not just stifling innovation. Governance is just to ensure that when you scale programs, they scale in the right way. And it's not just scale means I've got 100 bots, it's not scaling. And the third thing is infrastructure. And again, I'm probably talking about every unsexy topic that exists in the world of automation. Everyone wants to talk about the fancy things, but I'm thinking, yes, data governance and infrastructure. And infrastructure as well is, with most organizations that we've seen, infrastructure again has been designed from a yesterday's perspective. It's designed to answer questions from yesterday, questions that have got known rules. But again, IA, intelligent automation and AI, will start challenging this. Like, you will need things to be you need things to be different. So again, how does this shift happen? Our job as service providers is to help organizations again move their thinking from these are my legacy systems and infrastructure. How can I create an infrastructure where my systems of record become systems of intent? Like, my architecture needs to support my systems to now think, to infer, to simulate, to give feedback. How can I start investing in systems that allow me to experiment and fail fast? So be it cloud native, be it event-driven architectures. So an interoperability of systems. And again, systems are designed to be siloed. How can you think about how does the whole thing come together? Not just APIs, because again, APIs lack the context, right? How can you have more semantic interoperability between systems? So again, these are my top 3 challenges I've seen. Infrastructure, not built for tomorrow's problems. People talk about data not being enough. Data is enough, but it's just fragmented. And then governance, often forgotten, orphaned. But these 3 become so critical when you drive automation.
Got it. Sure, Gaurav. And I would like to go from here to AR. AR, I remember you highlighted as one of the pointers as a scalability specific to the banking segment. Want to understand, considering the governance, security considerations, the policies, and how stringent are they, right? Now, considering it, actually, how do you think about scaling some of these implementations or leveraging this intelligent automation kind of technologies within some of your use cases?
Thanks, Vijay. That's a fab question. Continuing on, I think the discussion around data. See, fundamentally, you do have the multi-layered governance with everything being underpinned by the regulations. So it's a heavily regulated industry. So one, you want to comply with the regulation. 2, you want to give top-notch customer experience. So these 2 are pretty much given. Within that construct, we do need to see how we can manage the whole piece of data. In large organizations, governance is quite important. There are multiple levels of simplifications possible. Rather than calling it as inefficiencies, I think let me put it as multiple levels of simplification possible. One, can you improve the customer journey? So that overall end-to-end journeys are improved much better, so that from a customer perspective, the end-to-end experience is much better. The complexity of legacy banks is more because customers have evolved. They have been in existence for a long time. They tried to build systems for a simple savings account, for example, but now what customers want is a much more fancier thing. Loan on demand, credit, I mean, everything I need it immediately on credit, all of that. So the period for which it's built is very different from what it is now. So there is significant room for improving customer journeys. Number 2, data has accumulated over a period of time. There is significant historic data. There is significant broken data in the sense, if you want, for example, credit system to be onboarded, you onboard a whole new credit system because that's easy plug and play, rather than trying to kind of make the existing integration with the existing system. So there are a lot of plug and plays happen. And banking, there is also significant piece of acquisition as well. So mergers acquisition is a common norm in the banking. So you do have systems from 2 different banks getting integrated and 2 different customer journeys getting integrated. So all of these gives us significant opportunities in terms of improvement in customer journeys. How can I make better what I call as golden source of data, meaning you don't have replication of data all over. How can I have better improved processes so that if, for example, if you have to open an account or close an account, you should have fairly consistent type of process across different customer segments. Quite
Got it.
often, that's not the case. So that's one thing. Then do you have sufficient validation of process? Because quite often, if there is a regulatory finding, you do have to go back and check what exactly was the process. Is it consistent across the bank? Is it being followed by everyone? What is the checks and balance, controls, measures, all of that you have? What is the risk? How you are managing it? All of that. So the entire gamut is auditable. So how do you have process validation? How do you have auditability is the second thing. And third bit is bit counterintuitive to whatever we are saying now. Is there sufficient human in loop to handle any big time exceptions? Are you relying entirely on automated systems, or do you have sufficient human oversight in certain cases? Have you found the balance between making sure that there is a fantastic customer experience and you're meeting the regulation, and are you doing the right thing? So there is a customer charter as well, right? So balancing customer charter, fantastic customer experience, and regulation comes in the do you have sufficient human oversight as well in certain scenarios? Not always you can go for automation. So that's the bit of difficult balance that we end up doing. So, for example, small business owners, not all of them will be able to send scanned document. For example, if you want build a system which picks up all the scanned documents and tries to run automations on it or processing or over it, not all small and medium business owners may have the facility to do it. So they may still say, I want to do it manually. Some older generation customers may say, I want to come to the branch and do things physically. I can't use your digital channel. So there is a balance between all of these that we try to live with. And towards that, we still need to live with security, wherein clear data set classification, making sure it's GDPR compliant, and still do your efficient and fantastic customer experience. So that's a bit of difficult dance.
Got it. Sure, yeah. With this, I'll move to Arun. Arun, from your earlier response, one thing which I could get is the way your sector is reliant, or one is customer experience, other one is customer trust, and how important it is in their journey. And considering that as one of the key aspects, what you need to address, and then the other things what Gourav and Aya spoke about, that is the data governance, how robust it should be, and then the rapid implementation of this automation and other things that are needed. How do you balance this two? Because it's you need to make sure that one is ready to support the other, to improve the other, right? So how do you balance between these two?
Right. Interesting question, Vijay. I mean, one of the bit that I would look at in a high touch environment like the travel industry, automation with human in the loop in many scenarios is quite important. And for us, trust is the currency, right? In some ways, right? And most importantly, when you look at it, every business use case is looking at speed, but it can never be at the cost of control or trust, right? So in terms of balance, I would look at it 2 ways, one internally and one externally. Internally would be simple, is a bit of what Gourav also mentioned. A lot of automation focuses on compliance, but compliance has to be embedded, or the governance has to be embedded well within the automation lifecycle, right? So from day one, it can't be like I've done everything and then look at governance, or that. So there should be some standardization done, and it is embedded into the life cycle. So it could be designing AI or the automation systems with built-in compliance, auditability, explainability, like AR also mentioned, right? So that's key. On the external side, it's simple. In some ways, I would put it by saying, how clearly can you communicate either to the customer or to your consuming business on how the customer data is being used, how is it being protected, and how it's sort of used or enhanced through automation, right? So that's probably the way I would look at it. I mean, let's take a simple example. In a travel ecosystem, I did talk about personalization. We are tailoring offers and experience based on a uh, customer who's using our systems. It could be based on room type, loyalty status, the places the person potentially has traveled, behavior,
Okay.
experiences, etc. All this data, how is it processed in compliance? How do we share that, and how much of masking is done
Okay.
when it's shared between systems, and obviously aligning to all the global data protection laws, right? So it's extremely important, because trust is what brings us new customer, and trust is what makes the customer experience better. So it's key for us. When you mention is there a good balance? Yes, absolutely, there needs to be balance for us to be driving value.
Got your point. And I think that is, I just want to take your inputs as a question to Rahul. Rahul, with we understand that how critical is the personal data, or personal data, as well as personalization of the data, to make sure that you improve the customer experience, and that's quite important in the fitness tech, right? And want to understand how you're, I would say, leveraging the intelligent automation and other technologies in improving this and also deploying this at scale.
Sure, Vijay. Actually, it's the theme around this. Love the comments from Arun, AR, and Gaurav here. Uh, Users trust brand. They trust brand, and the brand that retains the data, which is safe and secure. So that's very important, right? That drives the whole behavior around how do you maintain the data privacy and security standards. If you talk about the fitness industry, it's all about giving fitness experiences to the end user, where we have member data, we have how the nutrition facts are there, what type of data is collected from a health perspective. So
Mhm.
and also our users are very geographically distributed. So what that means is we have to stay compliant of the user data and privacy across geographies. Like we talk about GDPR, we talk about HIPAA, right? So those compliances we want to ensure, and we ensure that they stay intact. And that is number one. The second point, this is a world of AI, and you know how easily the data can be leaked between if you're using within the enterprise because of the open AI and the way the models are developed. And everyone is racing towards having very personalized experiences for the enterprises internally also, and fitness industry is the same deal. So very important that the models that you use, the training data that you use is scrapped after the PII data, because you're still developing those enterprise models, right? Just personally
Okay.
identifiable information is not to, because that is how you build intelligence on what to personal experiences that you want to offer. So that's the second key point in terms of when you talk about AI influence in data security and privacy. By the way, it's a whole very interesting topic about how you can easily hacking and hallucination of AI models and what can do an impact to the industry that we can have. And fitness is no different from it. And the third one, very important, which I want to highlight, is use zero trust policy, including intelligent automation routines. What that means is the intelligent automation routines that we all develop in the enterprise should not uh, make abusive use of ensure that they have full trust on the systems and use that the way we want to, right? It should be very ethical use of those. So that's what I want to highlight. How do you keep it safe and secure?
Perfect, Rahul. Thank you. So, I would say I would go around the table. The last thought process which I want to understand is, so we understood that the customer requirement, the experience is changing, and as AR explained, It changes from a segment of customers as well, right? And it's quite drastically changing the expectation. That's one. Second one is the kind of business need also keeps changing, whether it's a value what they need to generate. And in addition to that, the disruption which is happening, as well as outside the technology, that is external, as well as internal, the technology, the evolution, right? Now, considering all of these things, want to understand what are the typical best practices or some of the suggestions what you may have. And I also want to understand if you want to leverage the ecosystem in this regard, because you need to run faster, the time to market is important, you need to iterate quite often. Want to understand the build and the buy, what you speak about. Do you leverage which is already available? Do you leverage a partner who can help you drive those things, or do you invest and build internal, right? So I want to understand a bit of those aspects as your last comment, the best practices in driving this. So I'll start with AR. Gourav, I'll come back to you later. The reason is being I'm sure so you're working with multiple people. I would like to understand your perspective at the last year. I'll start with AR.
Thank you, Vijay. It's been a wonderful discussion today. To me, I think one critical piece is try to start with business value and customer experience as a starting point. All the technology solutions that we offer is quite often a means towards that, not exactly the end of it. So start with business value and the customer experience. That would be my take. Industry empirical data suggests that roughly 60% of challenges that we face are resolved by simplification, not exactly by automation. So towards that, can you actually simplify your business? Can you actually simplify the customer experience? Make it easier for customers. As part of that, bring in all the best of technologies available, be it buy, be it build. I think the choices are based on capability available within the organization, or if there is a best partner available, for example. So better go with a partner who can help overcome a certain specific challenge. For example, AI is the new new toy in the block. So if you want to, everyone wants to be part of the AI game. Everyone wants to wet their feet a bit on AI. It is still a huge expense to deploy scalable AI systems. It's still evolving as much as we have want to use AI. It is extremely useful, to be fair, but it requires a lot of structure in place in terms of data, in terms of systems, so that you can scale it when the AI boom. We are still at the start of the AI era, not in the middle or end of it. So how can you scale things? How can you set up a structure would be a key thing. One best practice that's worked for me in that sense of simplifying things, start becoming a partner to business. Can you establish mechanism to co-create with them? That's always been useful for me. So co-create with business, understand what they want, what is the customer experience, what is the business efficiency we are looking at, and simplify things. At the end of it, most of the simplification does result in technology projects. But having said that, don't miss the first step. Don't solve a problem which can be fixed upstream, rather than trying to fix things downstream, when a lot of mess would have happened and you would have had problems all over the organization. So try to fix up things upstream, simplify things, and then obviously technology, there'll be enough space for technology. That's not going away anyway. So that's my perspective.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Arun?
I'll have sort of two lines. One, automation, the way I would use it, I would put it in three categories. One is to power a change. It could be using intelligence or artificial intelligence. Second is creating. And in the segment of creating, we could use Gen AI in terms of be it content, be it creatives, etc. And the third part is deciding. That's where sort of the next step of AI is going to come in with agentic AI. Is that deciding independent with just an agent, or would it be human in the loop? I think that's a part of evolution. But irrespective of all that, I echo general sentiments which most of the leaders here have been speaking about. We should treat automation as a business transformation. It is not a technology deployment, right? So as long as it's solving a business problem, it's changing business, making it efficient, bringing value, I think that's where the value lies. And that's what we as technologists will have to use to bring value.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Rahul?
Yeah, it's two thoughts I want to share here. The first one, use intelligent automation to solve pain points of customer experience, not for the sake of automation. That's very key. Keeping trust and transparency in mind when we're doing it. The second part, to your point, Vijay, all the departments, what we have seen also here with fitness industry and all, also at ABC Fitness, all the cross-functional departments need to work together to realize the benefits of intelligent automation. Not just internally, but there's also quite a bit of potential to be tapped through M&As and partnerships to accelerate on intelligent automation. That will be very key as on this journey that we can solve. We can use the ecosystem externally and also internal external ecosystem coming together to solve the common problem that we have.
Got it. Got it. Yep. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for that. Gourav, your thoughts?
I'll follow the leaders, and I'll also have 2 points then. First, on your topic of buy and build, and again, I feel as a service provider, we're trying to bring a slight third paradigm, because buy versus build tries to answer a very different question. It tries to answer whether you build it in-house or you buy a solution of the market. What we are trying to bring in is something called buy versus build versus blend. Because with AI and with more complex problem solving, you have to blend in different technologies. You cannot buy one technology and say it'll solve my problem. That's not how it works. So you have to blend. You have to blend resources, your own with external. You have to blend different technologies coming together. So I think that paradigm is slightly different, is what we say. And my last point I would say is we keep hearing a lot around intelligent automation and AI helping organizations become more efficient. One thing that I think it's shifting to is how can we make our operations a lot more effective? Efficiency can easily be translated into working faster. But I think when you talk about how can your processes be more effective, then you start thinking about what AR said. Think about how can you reimagine your processes. A lot of the thing doesn't need automation. So when you think about how can I make this a much more effective process for my employees, for my customers, it opens up a whole new possibility for automation. It's not faster, bad process in, bad process out, fast, just happening 10 times faster. It's about how do you make it a lot more effective for people, your organizations, and the customers yourself. That'll be my 2 cents.
Great, great. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Gourav. And thank you all for taking your time, sharing your thoughts, and thanks for the example, case studies, real-time anecdotes. I think that would help us as well as the listeners. And thanks once again. Bye-bye.